به جشن نوروزی کتابخانه وست ونکوور خیلی خوش آمدین. Hello everybody and welcome to the West Vancouver Memorial Library Nowruz celebration. My name is Leila Mishkini. I'm a librarian here and an Iranian Canadian, so I'm very excited to be celebrating with you today. I want to acknowledge that I am hosting this from the traditional unceded territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. Nowruz is a celebration of nature, so I think it's especially important that we recognize and express gratitude to the host nations who have been stewards of these lands and waters since time immemorial. So Nowruz is the Persian New Year celebration. It literally means new day, and it begins each year on the first day of spring at the exact moment of the vernal equinox in harmony with the rebirth of nature. It's been celebrated by the peoples of Iran and Mesopotamia since antiquity, and its roots are in Zoroastrianism, but today it's largely celebrated as a secular holiday observed by people of different faiths and ethnicities, so in that way it's quite inclusive. It's mostly known as an Iranian New Year festival, but it's actually commemorated by several 100 million people in countries across Central Asia. So customs vary from country to country and people to people, even household to household. So I'm going to be sharing some of the most common Nowruz customs and traditions from the Iranian context, how I grew up celebrating Nowruz. Before I do that, I want to get us warmed up in the way that all Persians get warmed up, which is with some dancing. We're excited to be able to share a dance from the Vancouver Pars National Ballet, which started in North Vancouver in 1989, I believe, and it blends classical ballet with traditional and Iranian folk dancing. Fun fact, I was briefly a member of the Pars Ballet when I was about 10 years old, and I proved at a young age to be irredeemably ungraceful, but I have always enjoyed and loved watching their dances. So we're actually going to have the director, Azita Sabzeh, to introduce the dance, so I'm going to pass it over to Azita.
Hello everyone, my name is Azita Sabzeh. I am the director of Vancouver Pars National Ballet, which representing Persian folk and traditional dances. We established 30 years ago in North Vancouver, Canada, and since then we perform all over the world and represent Persian folk and tradition and introduce ourselves as a folk dancer. During this time of the year, Iranian people and also different nationalities celebrating Norooz, or first day of spring. So we choose one of our very lively dances to show you how we celebrate and how we are happy to see the beginning of the spring.
گل باغ می تو چش چراغ می تو چش چراغ می تو این شو اول بهاره موقع کشت کاره این شو اول بهاره موقع کشت کاره گل باغ می تو چش چراغ می تو گل باغ می تو چش چراغ می تو گل باغ می تو چش چراغ می تو باغ میته چش چراغ میته چش چراغ میته این شو اول بهاره موقع کشت کاره این شو اول بهاره موقع کشت کاره گل باغ میته چش چراغ میته گل باغ میته چش چراغ میته
That was so beautiful. I'm definitely feeling warmed up and ready to talk about some Nowruz customs. So like I said, Nowruz falls on the first day of spring. That's the New Year day, but we don't just celebrate one day. The celebrations and preparations start well in advance and go beyond that day. First, people will begin by cleaning their homes to prepare for the New Year. This is called khune tekuni, literally in Persian, shaking the house. They'll also buy new clothes to wear for the New Year, and flowers, typically hyacinth and tulips. People will also start to grow sabzeh, which is sort of like a sprouted grass from sprouted wheat or lentils. And this goes on the ceremonial Nowruz spread hafsin, which I will talk about a little bit later. Also, to prepare for the year, in Iran, they often have troubadours that sing and dance through the streets to spread good cheer and herald the coming New Year. And then sort of the biggest pre-Nowruz festival is called Charshanbe Sudi. This is a fire festival, and it takes place on the eve of the last Wednesday before every Nowruz. If you're from the North Shore, you might be familiar because there's an annual event in Ambleside Park, which is the largest in the area. And this is a day where people will gather and jump over fire. And as they jump over the fire, they say, Zadi man az to, sorkhi to az man. So they're literally telling the fire, take my sickly yellowness from the year before and give me your fiery redness for the year ahead. This is a purification ritual to purify the soul for the new year. And then when the new year arrives, people will gather around the half-seen table. And again, it's whenever the vernal equinox falls. So this year, Nowruz here is on Saturday, March 20th, between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. So people will be up to mark the moment. And when it comes, they will hug and kiss and wish each other a happy new year. Older people will give younger people gifts or money. This is called AD. And then either the night before or that night, they will have the traditional Persian feast. It's often a herbed rice and fish, sabzeh polo ba mahi. And then for 13 days afterwards, they visit each other. So this is called Eid Didani, and it's a time for people to visit their family and their friends. And they start always out of respect visiting their elders first. And then after 13 days, the end of the festivities is marked by a day called Sabzeh Badar. This is also called Nature Day in Iran. It's a national holiday there. And this is, the custom is for everybody to leave their homes for the day and to spend it in nature. So they will go to parks or beaches. Again, if you're from this area, if you go to a park or beach on that day, you'll see it is filled with people celebrating. And yeah, that day is sort of the wrap up to the festivities. So we get a good month out of it, I would say. So like I said, I want to share a little bit more about the half-seen table, what goes on it, and what the symbolism is, because you might have seen this table before and wondered. But I've been talking for a little while, so before that, I want to get to some music. And I'm delighted that we're going to have some music from Amir Amiri, who is an amazing musician and composer from Montreal, and he's going to be sharing some songs on the santur. If you don't know, the santur is a 72-string hammered dulcimer, and it's sort of at the heart of traditional Persian music. So I will pass it now to Amir.
Hello everyone. So for this day, I chose to celebrate, to do two pieces. The first piece is called Khorshid, which means the sun, in a hope of sunrise and warmth of the new year. And second is called Rain, to help the growth of the humans and the year that is before us. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Amir for sharing those songs. That was lovely. So as promised, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the ceremonial Nowruz spread, the sofreye hafsin, or the hafsin table. So, you might have seen this table around if you don't celebrate Nowruz. You see them more and more, especially on the lower mainland, in stores or in libraries. We have a table up every year. We'll have one this year. So if you're in the library, check it out. You might have seen it and wondered what it is, what the items are, and what the symbolism is. So if you think of Nowruz as sort of a combo of Christmas and New Year's, this is our Christmas tree. Every household will put up a beautiful hafsin table in their home in advance of the New Year and keep it up for the 13 days following Nowruz until the end of festivities. And generally, the items all symbolize sort of nature and rebirth. The history of the development of the table is long and complex. Originally, it was rooted in Zoroastrianism and the creation myth. And that has changed over time, especially in a post-Islamic context. So the traditions, what goes on here, and the symbolism varies from country to country, culture to culture, and again, even household to household. But what I have today is my hafsin based on sort of a common Iranian hafsin spread centered around 7 items beginning with the letter sin. So there are other items on the table as well, but the main 7 items, starting with sin, are Sabzeh, which is the wheatgrass, sprouted wheatgrass, symbolizing rebirth. We have senjed, which is fruit from the oleander tree, representing love. We have somokh, or sumac, representing the color of sunrise. Serke is vinegar and represents patience. And inside here you'll see I also have some coins, which is sekke. It isn't one of the main 7, but it starts with the letter sin and is often found on the table and represents prosperity. We have Samanu, which is a wheat pudding that represents affluence and fertility. Seeb, or apples, represent beauty, and Seer, or garlic, represents health. And again, there's many other items, as you can see on the table. Some start with sin, some don't. We have sombol, which is a hyacinth, which is almost always on the table along with other flowers. We have a mirror, we have candles, I have some sweets, shirni. I have this egg. There's often colored eggs, which represent fertility, and then often you'll also see a live goldfish. Now, I don't put a live goldfish on my table out of mercy to the goldfish, because I'm not good at taking care of them, so I just have this painted egg with goldfish on it. You might also see a bowl of water with an orange in it. And then we have esfand, which is wild rue, which is burned in many ceremonial Iranian rituals. And then finally, there's always a book, either the holy book, the Quran, or a book of poetry. So I have a book of poetry by Hafez on my table. So again, this is my hafsin. Every hafsin table is unique, but hopefully this will give you a bit more of an idea of what is on the table and what it all means. So that brings us to the end of our program. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Like I said, Nowruz is a celebration of nature, but also of togetherness. And of course, this year we're not able to gather together to celebrate in the ways that we're used to. So we're really pleased you were able to join us virtually today. And we have one more virtual program coming up on Nowruz on Saturday, March 20th. We're going to have a special Nowruz story time led by Sanam, and that's going to go live on our YouTube. So check that out as well. On behalf of everybody at West Vancouver Memorial Library, I want to wish you all a very happy Persian New Year. Eid Hamagi Mubarak, Norooz Pirooz.
Happy New Year, Happy Nowruz, and Nowruz Mubarak for everyone.
Happy New Year to all of you. Nowruz Mubarak, Nowruz Pirooz در همگی شما. ممنون.